We're kicking off this video just like most mornings, with a stop by the sea before diving into the day's work. Don't go in the water. I'm not going to throw that. Come on, let's go. Don't go in the water. Come on, stay out of the water. Come on, Kobe, we've got to get some work done. Come on, let's go. Go back to the car. Come on, boy, let's go. In the last video, we finished pointing these two walls. Now it's time to move on to plastering the back wall. As you can see, it's a mix of stone, bricks, and cement, so I'll be adding a layer of plaster to reinforce it and give it a more unified look. To start, I pre-cut this fiberglass mesh, which I'll embed into the plaster. This will help reinforce the surface and control any expansion within the plaster. Today I'm using a plaster by CVR. I started by mixing it with 5.5 liters but found it a bit too wet. Reducing it to 4.5 liters gave a much better consistency. With the plaster mixed and ready, I dampen the wall and start applying the first layer. I am super happy that I decided not to try to make this wall straight with plaster. So far, to do this, I'm in two 25-pound bags, and this is all I've got. Basically, it's 1 meter. So I have 4 meters to go. So yeah, we're looking at 8 bags, right? 2, 4, 6, 8 bags minimum. We'll see. Okay, so the first section is done. I had to stop because it is lunchtime here and that's quiet time, so I can't make a lot of noise. But you can see what 2 25-kilo bags resulted in. I've got 1 meter this way and 2 meter 35 going this way. I didn't really care about, trowel marks or anything like that because this is the base coat. I'm undecided whether I'm going to put another coat. I probably will. I'm doing this just to strengthen the wall, and it's not going to be too hard to do because I'm not trying to make it look pretty. It's going to be hidden behind the drywall anyway. So I'm really happy with the way it came out, and it looks so much better than it did over here. I mean, over here it just looks terrible with all the different rocks and brick, and it's a lot flatter. I mean, you can see some undulation in the area that I did, but it doesn't matter. It actually looks kind of nice. If I wanted to continue this, I could do this and not do the drywall, but it's not going to be flat. And if it's not flat, I know I'm not going to have the option of putting down tile. I don't want to be able to keep that option open. So I will indeed cover this with a drywall. So I'm going to go to lunch, let this dry, and at 3 o'clock, I'm getting an estimate for the stairs. So my engineer will be here, as well as a company, I think it's called Diemme, and they're gonna give me a preventivo, which is the word estimate in Italian, on installation of the stairs. So we'll see how that goes. At 3 p.m., Joella arrived to meet me and my structural engineer, Lorenzo, who will provide all the technical details. Joella brought along an impressive 3D laser scanner to precisely document and capture the area in detail. To wrap things up, we reviewed the final floor heights, which is crucial for ensuring the stairs align perfectly with the flooring. And with that, I went back to finishing the plaster. I just want to get a layer on so that netting will stick to the wall. And because I'm dealing with different material on the base here, I need to make sure it stays wet. These modern bricks here are like sponges. They soak up a lot of water very quickly, and they take a lot of water out of the plaster, which is why I have to put that fiber netting down, kind of control that expansion. Otherwise, it's going to crack. And because the surface is very uneven, what I'm doing with this first layer, when I push this, I'm really pushing it in the wall to try to get in all these cracks and crevices. So there you have it. 400 kilos of plaster to cover just over 4 centimeters wide, 2 centimeters 35 tall, and it's laid on at 1 to 2 centimeters thick. Now, am I going to lay a second coat? Probably not. The structural integrity is definitely there on the area that is already dry. I can already feel it. And what I'm going to do now is start preparing to put the drywall in. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the rails, the actual drywall studs. I'm not going to embed them into the wall at all. I'm going to put them down as if I'm laying down a standalone wall. So I'm going to use the 5 centimeter wide drywall rails, and I'll fix them to the floor, to the walls, and to the ceiling. And then I'm not going to put the drywall until after I run the plumbing. But what that will do is give me a lot of space behind the drywall within that structure so that I can run all the plumbing and I don't have any worries. And then once that's done, then I'll put up the drywall, and it's really going to change the look of this space. And I'm not going to touch this area over here by the window. I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to instead go back downstairs and start working where I was working before. And really, I want to finish up the downstairs area. And hopefully I'll have some stairs soon. I'll have to wait for the estimate to come back and then find out how soon it is they can begin the work, and we'll go from there. So I'm really happy with the work behind me. So stay with me. I continue to make progress. Here's a quick update on the olives from my last video. As you can see, the olives I started curing with a brine are already in jars since they were ready before I returned from Texas. Let me walk you through the steps that were taken to get these into jars. Begin by removing the olives from the brine, rinsing them thoroughly, and then placing them into jars. Next, add half a teaspoon of herbs and 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Mix up a light brine using 2 liters of hot water and 1/3 cup of salt. Add the brine to the jars and top off with olive oil. Finally, seal the jars while still hot and set aside for 2 weeks. This will allow time for the olives to absorb the flavors of the herbs, and in my case I use a mix of sage, basil, thyme, and oregano. Now let's take a look at the olives that were cured in dry salt. After sitting in salt for 2.5 weeks, I determined they were ready to go into jars. I start by removing the olives from the salt and rinsing them thoroughly. Next, I spread the olives out onto a dry cloth. I put another cloth on top to help dry the olives. Next, I put them in jars and add half a cup of olive oil. I mix them with the olive oil to make sure all the olives are thoroughly covered in oil. Here's the final result. Later, I topped them off with olive oil just to make sure that they keep longer. When it was all said and done, the small batch of olives I saved for curing produced 5 jars of olives. This is more than enough to get me through the winter. We end this episode with our most recent walk on the beach. The last time we were here, it was gray skies. My, what a difference the sun makes. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so and give us a like, and we'll see you in the next video. Ciao!